boy slept in a cardboard box like a dog. When he was thirsty, he drank icy water. When he was hungry, he ate the cheapest steamed buns. In the dead of winter, he could only wash his face with cold water. He wiped his face with a towel frozen into a block of ice. And all of this happened in a public restroom. Mantou was an orphan. He had never seen his mom and dad. The other kids played happily in the park. Only Mantou quietly built his cardboard box in a corner. If he didn't hurry, he wouldn't have a place to sleep at night. Mantou envied the other children who had parents to love them, while he could only continue working with his small hands, reddened from the cold. He finally finished building the home from cardboard, but he always felt something was missing. He rolled snowballs in the snowy ground, and eventually built a snowman that looked like his dad and mom. After a busy day, Mantou's stomach growled with hunger. He said goodbye to his snow parents and headed out. The little boy ate delicious food next to his parents, while Mantou could only enviously touch his own empty belly. At that moment, a soda can rolled to his feet, but to Mantou, it was a treasure, because selling the can would earn him money to buy steamed buns. When he returned to the park, he witnessed a heartbreaking scene. The snowman parents had been knocked over by mischievous children. Mantou rubbed the snowball with his small, red hands, and rebuilt 2 snowmen. This time, the snowman parents lay on the ground, so they wouldn't be easily knocked over again. Then, he made 2 steamed buns to give to his parents. He lay down in the middle of them, pretending they were a family sitting together for dinner. Winter had arrived, but with his mom and dad by his side, Mantou wasn't afraid at all. The snow continued to fall. The tap water in the bottle had frozen. Mantou had to go to the public restroom to wash up, and he drank some icy tap water while he was there. The cold made him cough uncontrollably. Mantou often leaned by the kindergarten window, listening in. The teacher was reading The Little Match Girl to the students. The matches that could grant wishes filled Mantou with longing. At that moment, and he couldn't help but sneeze, the teacher noticed him, and scared, Mantou quickly left the kindergarten. Because the story was interrupted, he didn't hear the sad ending of the little girl. Passers-by threw used matchsticks on the ground. Mantou happily picked them up, but unfortunately, the matches were already burnt out. To get matches that could grant wishes, Mantou stayed by the old man selling cigarettes, but now everyone used lighters. He waited for a long time, until even the restaurants had closed. Mantou wanted to trade his scarf for a match from the girl, because he had a very important wish. After hearing this, the girl directly gave him a whole box of matches. Mantou happily lit a match, and in a daze, his mother's figure appeared before him, but the burning match pulled him back to reality. The kind little girl handed him another box of matches, but Mantou sadly said he wished he could find his mom and dad. However, no matter how he wished, the faces that appeared in his mind were always someone else's parents, so he didn't want them anymore. Having never seen his biological parents, Mantou couldn't even hold on to memories. If it weren't for a father and son collecting scrap who found him on the roadside, Mantou might have frozen to death in that harsh winter. That day, a heavy rain started to fall. Mantou worried whether his little house would be washed away, until he saw a small dog nearby, getting soaked in the rain. Kind-hearted Mantou used a plastic bag to shield it from the rain, but he was left exposed in the downpour. The cold rain made them both sneeze. A passerby, feeling sorry for them, threw a coin. Before Mantou and the dog could celebrate, the coin fell into a nearby drain. They silently moved to a different spot. The small dog, understanding, blocked the drain with its body, but after that, no one else gave them any money. A girl passing by felt sorry for the small dog, and wanted to take it home. Mantou thought they were talking about him, but soon realized it was just his wishful thinking. Seeing that the dog had someone to care for it, he felt relieved. The little dog, however, looked back at him with reluctance, having grown fond of the boy who shielded it from the wind and rain. So the dog gave up a life of comfort, and ran toward Mantou. From then on, the dog and Mantou were inseparable. Mantou named it Huawan. That day, the teacher was showing the students how to fold paper airplanes. Just then, a paper airplane flew by. As Mantou reached out to grab it, the airplane's owner spotted him. In his nervousness, Mantou accidentally tore the airplane. The angry girl shouted for the teacher, and scared, Mantou ran away, only to trip over a branch. The teacher helped him up. Instead of scolding him, she asked if he was hurt. After learning about Mantou's background, the teacher requested the principal allow him to attend kindergarten, but the principal thought it was difficult since no one would pay his tuition. The teacher insisted she would help Mantou with the fees. Mantou was finally able to attend classes like the other kids. However, the kindergarten wouldn't allow him to bring his dog anymore. Mantou happily shared stories about what happened at school, and the teacher even gave him cookie. When Huawan returned, he brought back a pile of snacks. Even with so much food, he still preferred the cookie Mantou had given him. They enjoyed their treats together in front of the park. Mantou hadn't eaten such good food in a long time. He introduced Huawan to the kids in the park, believing that they were all friends. In reality, they only saw Mantou as an oddity, and they already knew the adorable Huawan well. The snacks had all been given to him by the other kids. Mantou took Huawan to the cardboard box, and from now on, it would be Huajuan's home too. During the day, Mantou went to kindergarten, while Huawan patiently waited at the door for him. That day, the teacher asked them to draw their parents. She even prepared new markers and paper just for Mantou. Everyone drew their own parents, but Mantou drew 2 snowmen. To him, that was his mom and dad. The teacher explained with his classmates' drawings, and after hearing this, Mantou rushed back to redraw. But this time, he ended up drawing his classmates' parents again. After school, they would dig through trash cans for soda cans, and then take them to their grandpa who collected scrap to exchange for money. Then they would buy delicious steamed buns. When he got home, he hung today's drawing on the wall. Christmas was approaching. At the entrance of the mall, Santa Claus was handing out small gifts. Mantou squeezed in to get a gift. From then on, no matter the weather, Mantou would come to the mall entrance. But the kind old man never appeared again. As the weather gradually warmed, the snowman parents began to melt. Mantou tried hard to rebuild them, and Huawan helped him, but they still couldn't stop the snow from melting. Facing life's hardships, Mantou had always been strong. This was the first time he couldn't help but cry. He felt that it was his mom and dad who brought the warm spring to him. The snowman's body quickly disappeared without a trace, just like his parents, who had never appeared. All his wishes could only come true in his dreams. In fact, Mantou once had a home, with foster parents and 2 younger brothers, but they treated him like a servant, often ganging up to bully him, so he had quietly left that cold home. Yesterday, the money he made from collecting soda cans was only enough to buy 1 steamed bun. The 2 of them had to share it, each eating half. Huawan waited at the kindergarten gate for Mantou to finish school, and a discarded soda can caught his eye. Huawan searched everywhere for soda cans, not missing a spot in the grass or a garbage bin. Though he occasionally got hurt, he managed to collect a pile of cans. But when he returned, he saw 2 kids causing trouble. Huawan called out to them in a panic, but the kids shot at him with a slingshot. One of them even threw a can at him. The 2 brothers were just as troublesome as ever. Fortunately, Mantou arrived just in time. By then, Huawan was already covered in bruises, and Mantou realized the 2 troublemakers were his former younger brothers. They chased Mantou and started hitting him, just like they used to at home. Mantou, frightened, hid in the grass, but his scarf stuck out in the open. They grabbed the scarf, almost choking him. Meanwhile, Huawan, who was yelling nearby, got kicked away by the heavier boy. Angry, Huawan bit down on him, finally scaring the 2 kids off. The usually lively park felt especially deserted that day. Not a single child showed up, and even the trash cans were empty. The usual steamed bun shop was closed as well, leaving them unable to buy any food. It was only after an old lady nearby informed him that Mantou learned it was New Year's Eve. Tomorrow would be the Spring Festival, and everyone was at home celebrating together. The old lady asked Mantou to check if the Spring Festival couplets were crooked. Mantou obediently did as he was told. After a while, the couplets still hung unevenly, but the old lady didn't mind. After all, no one was really looking. She said she needed to go prepare the New Year's Eve dinner. Then, she asked Mantou if he had a home. Mantou stammered that he did have a home. The old lady urged Mantou to hurry back, so he wouldn't make his family worry. With nowhere to go, Mantou wandered around, and ended up back at the entrance. The old lady happened to see him. As if she sensed his awkwardness, she invited Mantou into her home. After learning about his background, she offered him a meal of dumplings. Since her children had gone abroad for work, they rarely came back. She said it didn't matter, but deep down, she longed for their return. Mantou's presence brought a bit of warmth to her quiet home. Her grandson would have been about Mantou's age. The old lady said that if Mantou ever got hungry, he could just come to her place. She would treat him like her own grandson. Mantou called her grandma. At that moment, her children returned home. The old lady's eyes instantly filled with tears. She happily rushed to embrace her children. Watching their family reunite, Mantou quietly slipped away. The old lady then realized Mantou was gone. She explained to her son that he was a poor child without parents. Mantou touched the couplets, whispering to himself that he wasn't just a child without a mom and dad. His mother must be waiting for him somewhere, waiting to hang the Spring Festival couplets together. She had made lots of dumplings, with the TV on, waiting for Mantou to come home to watch the shows, to laugh together, and to share a reunion dinner. It had to be like that. This Spring Festival brought Mantou no happiness of reunion, only a stronger sense of loneliness. Mantou and Huawan watched a beautiful fireworks display together. The next day, Mantou bought 2 steamed buns. After that, he never visited the old lady's house again. He heard from the lady who sold buns that her son had come home for the new year and took the old lady away, moving abroad to live.